Eric Keller here, Enthusiast Auto Group. Today we are unveiling a collection of cars that EAG has bought and will be bringing to market here very soon. This is going to be a first look opportunity to see the vehicles before they populate our website and other marketing venues. We have three E30 M3s, an 88 M6, and a 6-speed Lime Rock Park Edition. These cars have all come from the same collection, quite a close a personal friend and well, of many enthusiasts, frankly. And this gentleman is, well, quite enthusiastic about the brand and is responsible for actually founding, he and his wife founding the BMW Club of America Club Racing Program, if that gives you any idea of how long they have been supporters of the Marque. We're going to go do a walkthrough of these cars here as Marque is unloading the vehicles, and just give a quick little intro to each of these cars, and then of course we're going to have to do a video on each of the cars to share with you as they go through EAG's Rejuvenation Program. We are going to put the M6 and the M3 Lime Rock through the normal program, EAG spec, given that both of those cars have come from EAG. The E30 M3s we're going to do a little different, and we're going to bring you, the enthusiast, along the way for the Rejuvenation, and that way you can kind of build the car to suit. We're going to do all the main basics, the safety stuff, the stuff that we have to do, but then we're going to let the next owner make the decision and work with EAG and be an active participant of the Reju program and understand just what goes into each of these cars. And well, I think that's probably what each of these individual videos will be about as we process the cars over the next coming weeks. So let's go take a walk through the cars and introduce you to these very special vehicles. And well, if you're interested in one of them, certainly reach out and we'd be happy to put you in the front seat as we go through this process. We've got a Rejuvenation coordinator, Mr. Mike Kent, there doing some photography, which is part of the Reju program. Each of the cars will always go through and have a photo journal going through pretty much every step of the way from arrival all the way to the finished product. And of course, he's going to show you the mechanical stuff in the workshop too. So this is a 2013 M3, of course, Lime Rock Park Edition. This is a car EAG sourced from the original owner many years ago and sold to the collection, and certainly is one of the nicer ones we'll see for the mileage, sitting at right around 22,000 miles. The car had, I believe, 17 or so thousand miles at the time of EAG's sale. Taking a look there at this driver's seat, that's always a good litmus test to identify just how much wear and use the car has had, as well as how nice the previous owners have been to it. We've got a couple small updates like the Alcantara shift knob and the carbon fiber mirror caps, and mileage is sitting 22,132. It's a pretty heavily optioned car with the enhanced premium sound. If you see the I guess we call it almost a grayish or tannish cone in the speakers, that's going to be the identifier that it's an enhanced premium sound. Same as the front speaker here in between the vents. There'll actually be a perforated screen there. That'll again be a visual identifier if it has the enhanced sound. It'll be a flat, smooth plate if it does not on an E92 M3. Silver wheel car with the leather. Those are the two main options. This is a special one. This is a very special one. This is a car EAG sourced from Canada in 2005. It is an 88 M6 and it's sitting right around 9,000 miles today. This is one of the absolute finest examples in, well, the world. It is a rest of world bumper, which will indicate the shorter last generation of the bumpers. All the Euro spec cars in 1988 received this same bumper trim as opposed to the slimmer bumpers that the earlier M635 CSIs were outfitted with. Not a lot of people know that the Euro cars also came with these bumpers, hence the ROW name. So the M6 is certainly one of the nicest examples that EAG has sourced. I can only think of just one or two that might be any nicer and conditioned than this one. It's certainly a #1 condition car by definition, and has some Alpina wheels as well as the full stock exhaust system, which we actually included, which is new in the box, and it has the stock wheels as well. Moving up to the top deck, we'll probably have to go through the front of the trailer, but I think might as well pan one more time here on the M6. And up top we have the trifecta of E30 M3s. Fun fact, this collection consists of an E30 M3 of every North American color and a Glanschwartz Sport Evo as well. So let's move on up to the front and take a lap through the top deck. Up front here we have a 1990 sterling silver E30 M3. Sterling silver is going to be one of the rarer colors for the production market. I think actually that's going to be the rarest production. It's even rarer than the Hennerot. We can get a little sneak peek here. We see an aftermarket X pipe going into a resonator, so it does have a track center section. Looks like a stock muffler there in the back. Another E30 M3 fun fact, the later cars, the very late 89, 90, and 91s were outfitted with these aluminum control arms that do weigh a couple pounds less than the steel arms that were equipped on the 88s in the mid and early 89s. A lot of the 88 track guys would upgrade to these aluminum arms. Looks relatively dry. If you don't see an oil leak on your S14, that means you just bought it from EAG, or it's not running right. That's the joke. If it's not leaking oil, it's not running right. This car has had a full top quality repaint that was done by a very well-known shop in the area of the previous owner, and we'll certainly do a full condition report and go around and just do a quality control and check. We'll go ahead and climb up here. We're now up at top in this very, very warm trailer on a nice hot summer day, and man, sterling silver, this really, really looks good. The car's condition should be quite nice, and that's going to be a theme with this collector. He drove his cars, but had enough of them that, well, couldn't always drive them, and once the Sport Evo came home, that car seemed to get quite a lot of the E30 M3 driving attention, and this collection does also consist of the very first E30 M3 built for North America, which was given to Corman, and Ray built one heck of a Firehawk IMSA spec race car with it. A lot of people know that car well, and this sterling certainly is got to be one of the nicer sterling silvers the market's going to have seen in a very long time. Mileage is right at 98,000 miles. Yeah, 98,896. Looks like we're going to have to replace the SI board, hence why those lights are on hard. Pretty common shortcoming with the E30 M3s. And here we have an Alpine White on Cardinal with looks like a Sport Evo front lip and some pretty tasteful BBS style 5s. Look like a 16-inch. That's a pretty rare wheel in that size. I've got a nice crack-free dash and a Cardinal interior, which you won't see too many Alpine Whites on Cardinals. The last white Cardinal we had, well, went to Travis Scott via Mr. Paul Zuckerman. Thanks, Paul, for selling an 8,000-mile perfect #1 condition car to be converted to a Rapper's promotional piece that is now a piece of cultural art, I guess we call it. It is 105,000 miles on the odometer on this Alpine Cardinal, and this is going to be more the driver spec. The car's got a little bit of paint work, I'm told. It has a good history, a clean history. All these have clean history reports, and we'll be sending those to any prospective owners once the car's data files are fully populated. Nice car. The car here behind is a brilliant rot. Again, a final year color. This is only available on the 90 and 91s. And this is on the Nature interior, and I believe this is to be a 26,000 mile car. We'll get a closer look at this one once the car comes down. The deck isn't quite as easily traversable. So let's go outside and unload these cars. For many years, EAG has exclusively used hard side enclosed transporters, just like Marque's rig here. We've been using Marque services for going on at least a decade, and it's important to use trucks like that because cars like this, well, they're only original once, and when you've got something that's this special, this rare, this low mileage, the opportunity and risk of damage during shipping, you know, with some of the more discounted carriers is a real risk, and unfortunately EAG has certainly suffered no shortage of damage claims over the years, resulting from just trying to save a couple bucks here and there. And it does cost more to ship stuff this way. It costs more to send your car to go through EAG's Reju program, but you're going to get what you pay for. And using quality carriers like this that actually care and are using the proper equipment and using the right trucks and schedules and all that type of stuff, it's, well, you're going to have a lot better result, and especially once we've put so much time and effort and energy into the rehabilitation of one of these cars. There's no point to skimp out and shortcut anything to save $100 or $300. It's just not worth it. The Alpine wheels on this M6 certainly set it off. This car is definitely gorgeous. The Shark. The E24 was the successor of the E9, and you can certainly see a lot of those styling cues with the design taking place in the mid-70s. The first 6 Series hit the road in 1977. This being the final model year. There were two 1988 M6s built for those that are really up on the E24 market. This car has a production date of 7 of 87. This is going to be one of the very first 88 model year cars. And the Canadian spec cars have what is called a half-line interior. The half-line interior is going to be the vinyl center console. It will be the fabric headliner as opposed to the leather, and it will be a vinyl dash that is much more crack resistant, warping resistant than the leather dash. The leather dashes will shrink and spit that center vent out. That's a really good spot on the M6s to always double check if it is an 87 US spec car. The 87 M6s from Canada, like our Lac Silver, will also be the half-line interior, just with the slightly longer front bumpers. And while I've been talking, Marque has been unloading, and here is the 2013 Lime Rock. This car is all original panels, all original paint, and is fully documented going back to day one. The car is certainly one of the nicer 6-speeds left, and certainly one that we're quite proud of. And we'll go through the Rejuve program. It has been several years since we've seen both of these cars, so we will be starting from scratch and adding everything that we've standardized since these cars departed or graduated EAG's program, I guess would be a more accurate statement. Condition, well, she is quite nice. Well, you know, I can tell you we sold this quite a long time ago because it's still on its original tires, which means those were still in date code when we sold it. So that must have been 15 or 16, as I think in 17, 18 was probably getting a fresh set of Michelins just simply based on time. The M Performance muffler, we'll go through and check every last inch of the car mechanically and cosmetically. I do think that a new set of Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's are going to go on. And here in the trunk we do have, I believe, some of the stock takeoff parts. Got a front license plate bracket, and in the box here I'm going to guess we probably have a set of maybe side gills and the shift knob and boot. Yep, we got the stock orange mirror caps, the front license plate bracket. And we'll go through all that stuff and photograph that when we do the car's studio shoot. We now have the 91 Brilliant Rot coming off. This is mostly stock car with a few choice upgrades. This Brilliant Rot is in quite exceptional condition. It has been a part of this collection for quite a long time. I do remember the car quite vividly, as I was very close to buying the car, and I don't remember the exact circumstances of how that deal did not come to fruition. Probably he just gave the man the money faster, I guess, maybe back then. But I remember the very first time I saw the car, which I believe is one of the very first times I met the collector in which we've sourced these cars from, and it was at Mid-Ohio, and he pulled into the paddock with this car, and I got looking at it and saw the mileage at 26,000 miles and saw a very unique set of buttons on the dash that I instantly knew was this car that we were getting so close on, and that's the ABS and the fan button there. This car had seen a small amount of track time, or maybe a fair amount of track time. We're going to learn more here as we go through and individualize these videos, but it was certainly one of the better lower mileage cars that we had almost sourced back then, but I guess all things come full circle, and top cars just have a tendency to make their way back to EAG, whether it's to go through the Rejuve program or for us to buy and and bring to market as we're doing with these cars. We've got quite a tidy engine bay. We'll do all of our VIN checks, and when we check the cars in, on the fender there, up on the corner of the hood, and then of course the same spot on the fender. We are still running, looks like we do have some updated valves, so we're running the 112 or R134 as opposed to the R12 refrigerant. Little things, we'll go through and recommend a lot of small things like the cap that goes over the wires. Just paying attention to all that type of stuff and making sure that we're going to have the right clamps on all the hoses so everything matches and right along factory spec. Those are a lot of the details that a lot of people just don't pay a lot of attention to. The throttle body caps are all missing. There should be the caps. They're yellow if they're original, blue if they've been replaced. And that's what you're going to get when you send the car to us to go through the program. We are wearing our VIN here, and we have the Sport Evo hood seals as well, which are going to give the race cars that thousandth or 2,000ths of a second back in the day. Here we have the Alpine White on Cardinal, 1988. I love these wheels. They're very, very stock-esque, but just different enough to set the car a little apart. And they always look quite good with that Evo 3 front lip, especially on Alpine White. You can keep that one running for a bit, Mark. It's always a good idea to keep the S14s running after a cold start. A bunch of short start and stops will foul the plugs out on these cars. The original selling dealers, in speaking with many original owners of these cars, would actually include a second set of spark plugs in the toolkits, and that would be a way to obviously help them when they knew that call was going to come in. It had come in enough times previously that they had started to do that. This car is, I believe, in all stock form. This M3 is more of the driver condition. When this South Carolina-based collector bought the car, there was a fair amount of work to do on the car, and he was interested in keeping the car on the road and in good shape, and so did take the time and effort and energy to invest into it. And the car does not have a VIN tag on either of its front fenders or hood. Those were probably going to be either BMW genuine replacements, or the tags were simply removed when they were repainted. There is signs that the cars had a little paint and body work, and that is something we knew up front, and given the relationship with the client and the approach that we're taking with these cars, we're going to, of course, price the cars accordingly, and you will get what you pay for. And seeing that just about most of the E30 M3s not in EAG's care and sale process are missing a tag or two is pretty commonplace. We wanted to try to have an entry-level enthusiast E30 M3 for once, which is something we don't do very often, but given the relationship and the overall integrity of the car and the mechanical health, this is something that we decided to take on. And again, selling it in this non-fully rejuvenated process is going to help keep the price point lower and make this M3 a bit more obtainable for the next enthusiast. The interior is quite nice, and the front seats, I believe, have been recovered. Yep, and those look quite tidy. It's pretty easy to tell when seats have been recovered more times than not. These are going to be one of the better sets of recovered seats I've seen, actually, just in quick glance, but everything's tidy. It's not overly bunchy, and the contour lines and things are where they should be, especially in the front knee supports. The car has an aftermarket radio, of which we can add a stock radio or put the updated radios that we've been putting in to have the Bluetooth functions. We've got a Sport Evo e-brake handle. A pretty tidy rear seat as well. And last but not least, we have the sterling silver M3 coming off the truck. I think I'm probably most excited about this car of the three, personally speaking. You just don't see sterling all that often, and man, it's been a long time, frankly, since we've had a sterling silver E30 M3. Over 10 years for sure. Quite a rare color, and it really looks good. It's really good. it's richer than, say, titanium silver. It's got a little bit more blue in it, I think. And this is a stock car that again has a full glass out repaint and wearing its stock 15s, stock muffler. Looks like it might have a slight suspension on it, but we'll again confirm all of that stuff. Great to see the original quality assurance sticker there in the rear window. Oh yeah, this is quite tidy. Nice car. Very cool. Inside, heated seats, which that'll be an option only on the 90 and 91s, as well as the airbag, which would be late 89, 90, and 91s. We do have several steering wheel options. If somebody wanted to retrofit a different steering wheel on there, we can certainly accommodate that. The other thing with these S14s, you don't want to let them sit and idle too long. So yes, you want it to start and idle and warm up, but at the same point, it is a race motor that can have problems overheating if it is left to idle too long, and especially with a car we're just getting to know for the first time. You know, once oil temperature is starting to come up a little bit, which it is just off the bottom there, I want to make sure that water temperature doesn't get too hot, so we're going to go ahead and turn this one off at the moment. And taking a closer look at the sterling silver metallic. I just love this sticker. To protect your investment, use genuine BMW parts that are factory tested and approved. We've got our VIN tag there, we've got our VIN tag over there, and we'll check all the doors on the cars as well. When we're doing the PPI, we will then dig quite a bit deeper, and we're going to check the VIN tags on the front and rear bumpers. We're going to check them on the quarter panels. The doors are quite easy to spot. They're located right there when they are there, which this one is not. And the trunk will be in the toolkit right here. And the door tag will be right there. The bumper tags are going to be right behind these side reflectors, and then on the front and rear bumpers, they're up under. You got to remove some of the plastic trim, and maybe when we're under one of these cars, I will make a note to show you those. The white car, we've got our VIN tag there, and check the trunk. Yep. Full toolkit too. Got a set of rubber mats, and it does have its battery cover, which I believe those are not available any longer. And we do not have our VIN tag there as well, so we'll look at this front corner on the car quite a bit closer just to make sure that there isn't anything that is of too much concern, and if there is, then we'll just have to take it all apart and put it all back together again, and we do all of that stuff in that building right there. That's our paint and body shop, and we've got quite a few customer cars, including some non-BMWs going through. Quality paint and body work's hard to find, and word has gotten out that we do that, and so we have had a lot of our local customers bring us their more daily drivers. And looks like we have all the tags on the red car. The roadside assistance, you don't see that too often. That was, I think, on the later cars. And yep, so all the VINs on the red car. So we will go through each of these cars and bring all of our YouTube followers along the way as much as we can. If you'd like to take the front seat in the Rejuve program on any of these E30 M3s, do reach out, and we would be happy to bring you along for the ride. Each of the cars will receive the comprehensive inspection and a full report that will be provided to the next owner by this man here, Mr. Mike Kent. Many of you guys have had plenty of conversations with Mike, and here it is on a Saturday, and he's still going. So, thanks for tuning in to this unique EAG first look of these 5 cars. Certainly be happy to provide any information to any interested parties, and we'll be processing these cars here very soon. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe for more. See ya.